Hello.
Hello, and welcome.
How are you doing this morning?
Yeah, it's much like yesterday, really. We've been doing some demos. Had a few difficulties. The first demo of the day, the unfortunate demo's laptop kept on switching off because Tabletop Simulator just stressed it too hard. And then I played a demo against myself, and of course I won.
Hey! Little pick me up.
Indeed, but it was even better now that you're here and we can play a demo together. So I can see you connected. I will just change your colour to red. You can be the red player. That bug has happened again. I'll just reload the board. I think that should fix it. Yes it does. Excellent. So you're in, you're connected. That's great. I'll start with the rules. Where's that thing? There we go. I fixed it. Excellent. Just see if we can hide the chat will go away. Right. Okay. So let me run through the rules. So this is Circulari, a game of tactics and resource management for 1 to 4 players, set in the accretion disk of a black hole. And you, the player, or players, take the role of the titular Circulari. That is to say, you are deep space miners operating in this asteroid field. And your goal in life is to be the best Circulari you can be. And because this is a board game, you'll be rated on your performance using this talent track at the top of your fleet board. So during the game, you will earn talent points for your good playing and social utility. And the game continues until one player reaches 7 or more talent points, and that triggers the end of the game. Everyone else then gets one final turn for an opportunity to pip you to the post and score higher. And then there are some additional talent points awarded at the very end. And the player with the most points, the most talented Circulari, is then the winner. So, how do you play Circulari? You are probably asking yourself. The answer is that we take it in turns, and each turn consists of 2 phases. So I'm just going to zoom in there on the player board, and there's a little quick reference area on the left-hand side of the player board. The first phase is called the action phase, and there are 4 different actions you can take during the action phase. I'm going to just go through them now. So the first action is the deploy robot action. So when you take the deploy robot action, that means you can pick up one of your robots sitting here in the 0 resources space on your fleet board, and you can drag that. You cannot drag that. I cannot zoom out. You can drag that over here to the space station and increase the size of your robotic mining fleets. At the beginning of the game, everyone starts off with 4 robots in their active fleet, and by playing the deploy robot action, you can add to that and get more robots out there. So the second action that you can take is the move robots action, and this is a very important action. It's the most commonly played action in the game. When you play move robots, you have to think about how many movement modules you have at the beginning of the game. Everyone has 4 movement modules, and what that means is you could take one of your robots and you could move it 1, 2, whoops, dragged the wrong thing, 3, 4, or you could go in the opposite direction, 1, 2, 3, 4, like so. Or you could take all 4 of your robots and you could drag them over here like this and go 1, 2, 3, 4, or any free combination of that kind of movement. So oops, you could obviously go, you could take 1 robot and you could go 1, 2 and 3, 4, and then you've got 1 left behind because you've run out of movement modules. And you will notice that the asteroids have a number of different slots. They have a fixed capacity, and there are different kinds of spaces for different activities. So the central section that's coloured in yellow, these are the thruster robots, and you'll use these to propel your asteroids around the disk a bit later on. The ones with the little cogs are metal extractor spaces, and they're for mining metal, and the ones with the thunderbolts are energy collector spaces for extracting energy. When you move onto an asteroid, irrespective of where you started from, you can freely enter any free space, so it doesn't matter if you change section. The one exception to that is if you want to change the type of robot you are on the same asteroid, for example, go from this metal extractor to this energy collector, that will also cost you 1 movement module's worth of movement. And that is the move robots action. So let's zip back over to the fleet board and we'll get on to the next type of action. So the next action is the upgrade action, and unlike the others that we've covered so far, this has a cost in terms of resources, so it costs 1 metal and 2 energy, so you would need to spend those resources in order to play the upgrade action. And when you do so, you can then upgrade your capabilities along either of these 2 upgrade tracks, more movement modules or more command channels. So movement modules we've already covered. The one extra detail is that when you upgrade your movement modules, you may then immediately move your robots as part of the upgrade action. So if you upgrade from 4 to 5, you can then, as part of the upgrade action, move your robots with 5 modules worth of movements. If you upgrade your movement modules twice during the game and reach the end of the track, this is the first of the 4 different ways you can earn talent points in the game. There is a 1 talent point subsidy for maxing out your upgrade capabilities in each of the tracks. So if you do 2 upgrades of the same thing, you'll get an extra talent point. Potentially there's 2 talent points there. And the 4th and final, but by no means least important action, is the export action. So this also costs resources. It costs 3 metal and 2 energy, and when you spend those resources, you send them back home to your home civilization. I'm just going to adjust my microphone gain. I'm going a bit too loud there. You go back to your home civilization and are justly rewarded with 2 talent points for your efforts. So those are the 4 different actions that you can take, and on your turn you may take any one of those actions if you wish, and if you can afford it, you may also take a second action at a cost of 2 energy. So if you spend that 2 energy, you can take a second action. That could be the same action as your first action, or it could be a different action. There we go. Just right. So that's the action phase. Once you've taken your 1 or your 2 actions, we then move on to the command phase. So in the command phase, you now have to think about how many command channels you have. And at the beginning of the game, everyone has 1 command channel. And what that means is that you may move, or rather you may send commands to, at most, 1 of your asteroids. And how do you do that? How do you send commands to an asteroid? You need to have robots positioned on the central section of the asteroid, the thruster robots. And for example, if I put 3 thruster robots on this asteroid, that means that I could shift it 3 times clockwise, like so. 1, 2, 3. Or I could shift it twice in the counterclockwise direction. 1, 2. I can't shift it any further than that because you cannot shift past the space station.
Okay.
If I had fewer than 3 thruster robots, if I took some of those cubes off, if I only had 1, then I would only be able to shift 1 asteroid's worth of distance in either direction. So that is shifting. There is a quick reference on the fleet board. Let me show you for the commands. Shifting. So while you cannot move past the space station, there are 2 special things that happen when you get next to the space station. We'll get into that now. You can extract and deorbit. So you will notice that some asteroids are played in the waste rock orientation and some in the metal ore orientation. So our metal ore asteroids are rich in resources waiting to be mined, whereas the waste rocks have already been mined. They're just hollow husks of their former glory waiting to be deorbited into the black hole. And we can illustrate how that works. So if we had a metal ore asteroid here, and I put some cubes on it, some robots I should say, like so, Then on the yellow player's turn, on their command phase, they could use the first of those 2 thrusters to shift the metal ore asteroid into position like so, so that it's now in the metal ore slot to the left of the space station. You can see the labels there, they line up. And then that means you can use the second thruster to then extract the metal from the asteroid. And what happens, if we look again at our quick reference area, is that the player who performs the extract command gets 1 metal for their efforts, and each player who has a robot on any of the metal extractor spaces on that asteroid also gets 1 metal. So what we'll see here is that the yellow player is going to get 2 metal, 1 for performing the command, 1 for having a robot, and the red player will passively acquire 1 metal. So yellow player 2 metal, and the red player 1 metal.
If the yellow player had 2 cubes, had both of those metal extraction,
they would get 3.
They would get 3. Okay, yep.
And then finally, we just need to flip our asteroid around to show that it's now waste rock. So to do that in Tabletop Simulator, we'll right click and click on the Set to Waste Rock button, like so. So similarly, there is something very similar going on with the waste rock. So you'll, whoops, didn't mean to do that. You'll notice the waste rock asteroids. They have this filled in white arrow next to the thrusters, and that shows that the waste rock wants to move around clockwise to be mined out here to the left of the space station. And the waste rock now has that filled in arrow pointing counterclockwise, coming around here, down to here, where the waste rock get deorbited. It indicates the general direction of travel. Of course, you can move in the opposite direction, but that is the general direction of travel that you may wish to be moving in. So the waste rock, if we put some thrusters there, and we put some more cubes, we'll put a red cube there maybe. So with the deorbiting, it works like so. Again, we've got 2 thrusters on this waste rock asteroid here. Oh, wait, I need to rotate it. We've got 2 thrusters on this waste rock asteroid here, so we can use the first thruster to shift into position, and then the second thruster to play the deorbit command, which is to drop our asteroid into the black hole. So what happens, if again we look at the quick reference, is that the player who performs the deorbit command gains 1 talent point for doing their public spirited duty of helping keep the disk clear of hazardous debris. And as the asteroid falls into the black hole, it causes some energy to be radiated, and that energy can be picked up by any robots on the energy collector spaces anywhere in the disk. So what's going to happen here is the red player has 1, and the yellow player has 1, so they will both score 1 energy, like so. And that will move along by 1. If you get more than 4 of any given type of resources, then you just start to employ additional cubes, like so, until you run out of cubes. So there is a limit, because the cubes are fungible. They're shared between the active robot fleet and also storing resources. So you have to make some trade-offs there.
Right.
Yeah, so to complete our deorbit, so we've scored our talent points, we've scored our energy, so it only remains to drop this asteroid into the black hole. So as we do so, we need to get our robots out of the way, because we don't want to drop them in the black hole. They're probably very expensive to make. So we're going to evacuate them. Again, right-click menu in Tabletop Simulator, press evacuate, confirm, and they fly off to the space station very conveniently. And then just drag this asteroid into the outer disk, and we bring in a fresh metal ore asteroid. So that's basically the core of the game. Metal ore is moving clockwise, where it gets mined out, produces metal, gets turned into waste rock. Waste rock then moves counterclockwise, where it gets deorbited, and that produces talent points and energy, and gets replaced by a fresh metal ore asteroid. There are 4 ways to score talent points in the game, 3 of which I've covered so far. The first one is the upgrades, the second one is the exporting, and the third one is deorbiting asteroids. The game is played until 7 performance points. That triggers the end. At that point, everyone gets 1 additional turn, At the end, there is the fourth and final way of scoring talent points. Talent points are awarded for how much resources you have left at the end of the game. So if you finish the game with no resources, you'll be awarded 1 additional talent point for being so efficient. If you end the game with between 1 and 5 talent points, then you won't receive any between 1 and 5 units of resources, then you won't receive any additional talent points because you were wasteful. But if you should end the game with 6 to 11 talent points, 6 to 11, keep on saying talent points when I shouldn't. If you end the game with 6 to 11 units of resources, then you'll be awarded 1 additional talent point for leaving a surplus. And if you should end the game with 12 or more 12 or more resources, then you'll be awarded 2 talent points for leaving a really big surplus. And that is the game. Do you have any questions before we get started?
I don't think so. I think that's a pretty good explanation.
Very well. I shall reset the board. And we'll just drag the blue and the white cubes out of the way since we're not playing with them. Right. Would you like to take the first turn, or shall I?
You go for it while I figure out a vague semblance of the track.
Right, I'll get going then. So I'll play yellow. We just got to remember what colour you are. Made that mistake before. So what shall I do? Okay, I'll do the opposite to what I did in the last game. I'm going to move robots 1, 2, 3, 4 onto that metal ore there. And then that concludes my action phase. I'm not going to take a second action. So I can now shift this asteroid 1 and 2 spaces clockwise. And it's now your turn, red player.
Go 1. Oh. Move the camera, that'll help. And then I'm going to move this to that way.
So, let me just pull it again. Did you, Right, so you started here.
Yep.
And you've moved, so when you did your move robots action, so you spent 1 movement module here, and then you must have spent
that's 2,
3, so you've spent more than 4. So I think you could have done that, but you would need to have taken your second action and played move robots twice and spend that 2 energy that you started with.
Instead, then I'm going to do 1, 2, 3.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 that you've spent so far.
Oh yeah, yep, that's it. And then this will move 1.
Very well. So it's now my turn. I am going to... I think I'm happy with my deployment. I'm going to increase the size of my fleet. I'm going to deploy a robot for my action. And then for my command phase, I'm going to just carry on moving around. 1, 2, 3. And I see you've got 2 cubes in weight, so possibly you're going to jump on that. But I don't mind. I think that's fair. So yeah, that concludes my turn.
Okay. I am then going to deploy 1 here. So that's 1. Two. And I assume I don't have to use all of my movement modules.
No, you don't.
I think I'm just going to let this one
Okay.
move around.
So, I have 2 thrusters on this asteroid, but I don't need them all, because I only need 1 thruster to finish off extracting this one. So, given that you're approaching the deorbit slot, I think I'm going to reposition mine. 1, move robots. 2, 3, onto those energy collectors. That might come in handy. And then for my command phase, I'm going to extract this asteroid here. So I'm going to score 3 metal for that. 1 for doing it, 1 for each of my 2 cubes. And you will also score 1 metal. Perfect. And then we'll just rotate that into the waste rock position to show that it's mined out, and it's your turn.
Okay. What I can do that next time. So I'm going to deploy robot. That's all that I do for the deploy robot, right?
Say again, sorry?
That's all I do for the deploy robot is just
yes,
put one
you just drag it onto the space station, yep.
And then this is going to move around.
The slow going. Well, let's see. So, 2, 3. So I could redeploy myself to get more energy. I'm going to move robots, and I'm going to exploit your vulnerability there, because you've got 2 thruster slots open, so in fact I can finish the deorbiting. So I'm going to move, I've moved 1, 2, I'm going to move 3, 4. And then I'm going to deorbit this asteroid for my command phase. So that produces energy, and you will get 2 energy for your 2 cubes there, and I will score 3 energy because I have 3 cubes on energy collectors. I will also score a talent point for being the person to actually do the deorbit. And finally, we will evacuate the asteroid and bring on a fresh one. And it's your turn.
Alright. Do 1, 2, 3. Then what? Gonna move here.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm gonna move this 1, 2, 3 this way.
Yep. Okay, so it's now my turn. So you're coming around with that metal. Or, how am I doing for resources? I have 3 metal and 2 energy. Oh, I tell you what I forgot to do actually at the start of the game. Is that for a demo we normally start at 4 performance points. So I will just add 4 to both of our talent scores. Right. So I am... So maybe what I'll do actually is I'm going to get an upgrade. Yes, I'm going to upgrade my movement modules. So I'm going to spend 1 metal and 2 energy doing that. So I'm going to go from 4 to 5 movement modules. And I get to move my robots as part of that. So what do I want to get more of? I think I have a fair amount of energy. It's probably more metal. The closest metal around is the one you're on. Let's just start. Let's start here. So I can move these 1, 2, and 3, 4, and then I've got one more to spend. I guess I'll just... what can I do? Maybe I'll leave that there, so that's 3. And I can go 4, 5. Right. And then for my command phase, I then move this one here like that. And it's your turn.
Okay. So I'm going to go 1. 2, 3, 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then this goes 1, 2, and then for the third one, I do the mining thing.
Mm-hmm. If you right click, you'll see it in the context menu.
So that's set to waste rock, is that right?
That's right, yeah.
And I get
2 metal. 1 for your 1 cube and 1 for doing it.
well, because I did it. Cool.
Alright, so now it's my turn, and I want to get this mining. Okay, so you've taken one of my spaces, but that's not too bad. I'm going to move robots 1, 2, oops, dragged the wrong thing, 2, let's see, and then 3, 4, just enough, 5, excellent, that upgrade came in handy. So now, that concludes my action phase. For my command phase, I'm going to move shift 1, 2, 3, on the cusp of being mined, but not quite there yet, and it's your turn again.
Okay. I'm going to... I'm jealous of your extra move, so I'm going to do an upgrade. So I paid the 1 metal, 2 energy, and my movement went up. And then... might as well move that around.
And you didn't want to move your robots as part of the... I guess you're happy with the current deployment.
Oh, I can do that as a part of the upgrade, yes.
As part of the upgrade, yeah.
I had forgotten about that. The only thing I'm going to do is that, and you've got 5, so it'll be 1. Yeah, I'm going to leave it like that for now.
Okay. So, my turn. What am I going to do? I could actually afford... But do I really want to do that? I probably don't want to do that right now. So I'm going to play the deploy robot action. Bring in an extra one in case I need it. And for the command phase, I will make the obvious choice of mining out this asteroid here. So we set that to waste rock. And I will gain 3 metal for that. 1, 2, deploy an extra cube, 3. And you will gain 1 metal.
Woo.
And it's your turn.
My turn. Right. I will move robots. I will move that. So I'll move it here. I'll come back to that. So move that 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I've got 5 actually, haven't I? So I can get all the way around there. And then I'll move that into here.
Yep.
And then deorbit.
Yep.
Which means evacuating.
Yep. So helpful to count the number of cubes first, but it's straightforward in this case. You get 3 energy and 1 talent point. And I don't get anything.
1, 2, 3. Evacuate.
And then you just drag it onto the outer disk. There you go, and you bring on a fresh asteroid. Right, so it's my turn again. Okay, so we're level neck and neck on 5 talent points. So I've got a bunch of metal. We're kind of getting in the range where each of us could end the game, but it's not clear to me straight away whether or not that would result in winning. So obviously I can export, which would take me to 7, which would, and you could also export. So I think we'd probably end up relatively level, which is no good. So let's keep on seeing what we can do. Let's see. So I've got 5 metal, which is not enough to export twice, and I certainly don't have enough energy to export twice. I have this waste rock, so I probably want to bring this waste rock round. What else can I do? Let's see. I suppose I do have enough. Yeah, probably more. Get some more energy. So I'm gonna move robots. I'm gonna move robots. 1, 2, 3, 4. That will do. And then for my command phase, I'm going to bring this one around. 1, 2, 3, like so. And it's your turn.
Okay. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just trying to work out how many I want to move at. Let's go all the way.
So now it's my turn, and you've pushed me forward. So I only need 2 robots now in order to deal with this one. I'm worried if you get more metal that you might outpace me. So I probably need to play my gambit now if I can. But I don't have enough energy to both export and do any other movement. So what I can do is I can export, which will take me to 7, and I'm going to get 1 for this deorbit, and that is going to leave me with not enough resources to get any additional points at the end. I think that is the strategy I should take. So I'm going to export. Let's see how it plays out. So I'm going to spend 1, 2, 3 metal, and I'm going to spend 2 energy, and I gain 2 talent points, which is going to trigger the end of the game. And then in my command phase, I'm going to just keep on moving around, and then I'm going to deorbit this one, and as I deorbit, I'm going to get 3 energy and 1 more talent point for my troubles. And you don't have any energy collectors, so you won't get any energy. I need to evacuate the asteroid. Bring in a fresh one. Alright, and now you get 1 final turn to see if you can beat 8.
Seems unlikely, but we'll see where we go. Okay, so I think it makes sense for me to export. So that costs 3 and 2. Gets me 2 points there. And then I can't remember what the resource thresholds were.
Ah, right. For the additional scoring, right. So it is 1 to 5 is 0. So you want 6 or more if you're trying to accumulate additional resources. So you've got 3 energy at the moment. So if you extract that 1, you'll gain another 3 metal, which will take you to 6. That is worth an extra performance point, an extra talent point. They used to be called performance points, which I always found terribly cumbersome to say, and so I changed them to snappy talent points. But I find myself still saying the wrong word.
Get used to it. Okay. So extraction is set to waste rock, and I get the 2 from that, and then 1 for doing the extraction. Cool.
Right, so that brings the game to its end. So I don't. Let's see. 4. Actually, no. I've got. Because of the extra energy I got an extra point as well, because it's taken me up to 6. So we both get an extra talent point. So we finish the game on 9 and 8. So as it happens, I win this one, but you came very close. And obviously I've played Circulari a great many times, whereas this I think is your first. So good game, and thank you very much for taking the time to demo Circulari.
Thank you, that was fun.
Yeah. Any other questions you have about the game, or anything you want to say?
So am I right in thinking this is going to be on Kickstarter at some point?
That is the plan, to launch a Kickstarter campaign in May 2021.
Okay. I have to keep an eye out.
Yes, feel free to sign up to our newsletter if you haven't already. It's on the front page of the website, ruinsky.com. Just type your email address in and you can get a very infrequent email newsletter. I'm bad about sending them out. I know there's something about sending emails that's it's a bit scary. You just spend a long time kind of staring at the draft before you send it. But definitely I will overcome that hurdle when it comes time to send out the Kickstarter notifications. So you'll definitely, at the very least, get an email in May 2021.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thanks again. And enjoy the rest of the virtual UK Games Expo.
Yes, you too. Take care.
Bye.